Welcome to Blake Street Banter, where one of us knows what the word banter means. The other two are just along for the ride. Tyler, say what's up.
What up? What up?
We are joined by Rockies prospect Chase Dollander. What up, big dog?
What's going on, guys? How are you?
Doing well, doing well. This is pretty exciting for us. I need to know where we rank on your kind of list of really cool things you did in 2024. So you made your professional baseball debut. You got called up to the Hartford Yard Goats. You started the MiLB All-Star Futures game, and now you're on Blake Street Banter, kind of towards the end of the season. So, like, where are we kind of on this little ranking scale here?
I mean, yeah, I don't think it's any question that y'all are number one. So it's been a lot of fun, you know.
Yeah. All right. So we heard it here first. Heard it here first. Chase's number one things in 2024 list, BSB. So we got that out of the way. Yeah, no, this is pretty exciting to talk to you. Like, you're doing really cool things. You're pitching your way through Spokane. You're in Hartford, the call up and all that kind of stuff. And I'm all over the place. I don't know where I want to start, but like, I think I want to start with that future game nod, right? Like we just talked about the player of the week off air, and we'll talk about that in a little bit later. Like that's down the road of cool things. But like, how did you kind of know that you were going to be taken to the future game to represent the Rockies? How did you find out that you were starting? Like who did you call first? Like how did all that happen?
Yeah. So our farm director, Chris Forbes, he called me probably about a week or week and a half before the game. And he was like, hey, like, just let you know, you got invited to the Futures game. Kind of keep it low right now, but you can call your parents and tell them. So the first person I called was my mom, and she was obviously very happy about it. And then I called my stepdad and told him, and then those were the only two people that I called other than my girlfriend at the time. But yeah, it was surreal just kind of hearing that. And then once I got to Dallas, I had no idea if I was going to pitch or not, because I think we had 8 pitchers or 9 pitchers and there was only 7 innings. And so it was like, I don't know if I'm going to pitch, but as soon as I got there, I got my hotel information. They're like, oh, by the way, you're starting. I was like, what? All right, well, here we go. And but yeah, it was an awesome experience.
Yeah, were there any guys there that you just kind of seeing them go through BP or whatever that you're kind of like, all right, I'm going to be watching for that dude in the big leagues in a couple of years?
You know, I didn't really get to watch BP only because I was just kind of like preparing for a start day. Basically, I just kind of treated it like I was pitching in Spokane at the time. But I knew going into it that I was probably going to face Spencer Jones, and I played him in college. And I wanted to face him again, and I ended up getting to, and I knew that guy. He's going to be in the big leagues here soon. I think I get to play him this week if he's still here, but yeah, I know he's going to be breaking it here soon.
Does that amp you up a little bit? Like you know who like some of the dogs are on the other side.
Yeah.
Like in you're facing every single one of those guys in that futures game, right? And like you get amped up a little bit like that? Like,
I actually noticed that I wasn't as amped up as I thought I would be in that game. I don't know. I don't know if I did a good job just controlling it, or if it was just like, hey, like you're going to be amped up, so just expect it kind of thing. But I just remember, I remember looking up and I was like, all right, I know who this is. I know who this is. I know who this is. And it was just like, what is going on? Like these guys were all really good prospects, and are probably all going to break the MLB here soon. So yeah. It was like, all right, well, if these guys are going to be guys I'm playing here soon, might as well, get to know them and get to see how they swing.
Yeah, and you went out and did a little clean sheet there.
Yeah. I wish I would have got a punch out or at least not walked anybody, but it is what it is.
Yeah, when I saw the zero Ks, I was like, come on, what are we
doing? I know, right? I tried. I promise, I tried.
Like that's not our Chase. That's not the Chase that we know. No, that's pretty cool. It's pretty surreal. Like Yankiel Fernandez, he was the guy that the year before, and it's cool seeing Rockies players like kind of just represent them. Like Willie Mack was out there, Jeromo was up there, I think. So it's just fun seeing you guys all just kind of do your thing and be in the the upper tier of all these prospects. And like, there's some people say bad things about the Rockies farm system and all that, and that's why we're here to kind of change that narrative a little bit. And it's cool. Like, all right, we just got the starter on the futures game, like going clean. So we have that skill, and like and then I mean, speaking of that, like, do you and like Sean Sullivan like have a little rivalry like match thing going? Because like you look at these leaderboards, it's like Chase 111 strikeouts, Sean 108, but then he's got to start. Then he's just going back and forth, like when your time puts together. But like, what is kind of that like camaraderie between you two, like kind of coming up together right now? And just
I wouldn't say it's a rivalry at all. I think him and I have gotten very close, and we always obviously support each other a lot, and we talk all the time about like how hitters are looking and what to expect and stuff like that. But Sean's a freaking wizard, like you say all the time. I mean, I don't understand how he gets so many whiffs, but I mean, that guy's just gross. So like I said, I'm super happy for that guy and how well he's doing.
Does he know about the wizard nickname? Like, we want that to stay.
Trust me, I saw the post y'all made with him in like a wizard's hat and stuff like that. And I showed it to him, and he had a pretty good laugh. So,
I mean, because I've never seen a guy like him on the hill. Like he gets so far down the hill towards the plate, the low slot, commands the ball like a wizard. So
we're trying to make a combination of a lot of things. It's low slot, it's crossbody, it's almost 8 feet of extension. It's insane how he does it, but he does it, and he's probably one of the only people that I've ever seen that can do all that at the same time.
I know there's so much going along to it. I want to talk to another guy that you've kind of been working with. He's making his Rockies debut like right now. Is Bradley Blaylock. Like, what can you tell us a little bit about him? Give us a little scouting report on Bradley there.
Bradley, he's the man. He joined us in Reading when we were there for our 2-week road trip, but he's a great person. I love him to death, and we have the same agency actually. So I saw him walk in with like a Vayner Sports hat on. I was like, I don't know who this is, but but after that, I kind of introduced myself, and we kind of hit it off after that. But Bradley, what you're getting, he's a higher arm slot guy. He rides the ball really, really well. He has a really good curveball. I don't know. I can't remember if he throws a split or a changeup, but whatever it is, it's gross. And then I think he also has a slider off that too, or a cutter, or whatever he calls it. But I mean, he's going to be really good. He's one of those high vert guys that I think the Rockies are trying to shift towards. But I think he's going to do really well. And I was going to tune in and watch right after we got off this. So we'll see how he does, and I'm excited for him.
Yeah, I got it on here, so I'll update you with that first inning.
Please do.
It's kind of fun. That's the cool thing about doing it at this time here. But you're doing your thing, and you came out of Tennessee, which is cool because I mean, you guys were fantastic in 22-23, but you also started in Georgia Southern. Mm-hmm. Like, how did you kind of end up there? Because like everybody knows Chase is the Volunteer. But like, how did we kind of get our roots and our foundation going in the Southern?
Yeah, so coming out of high school, I only had 2 offers, and it was Georgia Southern and College of Charleston. And at the time, like, I was more worried about going somewhere that could, number one, give me a good education, and number 2, help me financially. And College of Charleston just did not make any sense because number 1's out of state, so I would have to pay out of state tuition and stuff like that. And Georgia Southern, I had Zell Miller scholarship, which means like your tuition's 100% paid for on top of a baseball scholarship. So I wasn't going to have to pay for anything except for maybe like $300 the first semester or something like that for housing. But yeah, I was not a big prospect coming out at all out of high school. COVID obviously hit my 2020 year, which I kind of was gaining some momentum then. I got 1 call in the 5th round of the draft that year, and I turned it down just because it didn't make any sense for me. But yeah, I went to Georgia Southern, learned a lot there, was able to meet some good guys, played Tennessee my first ever outing in college.
Oh, wow.
Shoved against them. So I don't know if that gained their attention or whatever, but a lot of people think that they talked to me after that, but I'll swear up and down that they didn't. But yeah, it was a lot of fun, being there and learning how to pitch and stuff like that. But Tennessee was just a completely different experience.
What were some of those keys that allowed you to go from being a Georgia Southern kid to Tennessee and then to the 9th overall pick in the draft? Like, what were those key moments maybe, or the key people that really helped you have a huge jump?
Yeah, I would say that coming out of Georgia Southern and transferring into Tennessee, I was – number 1, my eating and all of that was just all out of whack. Like, I had no idea what I was doing. And so as soon as I got to Tennessee, I was basically put on a diet. I not technically put, I kind of did it to myself because I was just like, you need to lose weight. Like, you're kind of fat. But yeah, and then I got my training locked in, I got my eating locked in, got my sleep locked in. I started working with Coach Anderson, which he's probably the best pitching coach I've ever had. And then on top of that, all the guys there, all the coaches with Coach Q, our strength coach, Coach V, obviously, every single one of them had a role to play in my development. I couldn't thank them enough, obviously. But it was a fun time, being around a group of guys that all wanted the same common goal of getting drafted and getting to the next level. And I think that helped a lot.
Yeah, I mean, I just imagine like an athlete as a freshman, like just kind of doing the thing. I remember my freshman year, it was terrible. Like no regimen, no routines. It's like, you mean I have all you can eat buffet every single meal, all you want? Yep. Like this is absolutely ridiculous. Yep. But it's kind of funny. Like as an athlete, you just would think like, no, they're on this regimen. They got the coaches. They're kind of doing their thing. Mm-hmm. But then obviously if you're going to play at the next level, you're going to have to step up a little bit and kind of fix yourself going around that way. So it's kind of cool. Again, kind of like, all right, you are humans and like you do have these same ebbs and flows that we do, like us normies over here. Like,
I try to tell everybody, like, we're human too. Like we're human beings. We're real people. Like we go through things. I promise. Like it's not all hunky dory over here. Like
right? Yeah, just chiseled out of marble all the time. Yeah, no matter what you do, this kind of thing, right?
I promise. I was 230 coming out of Georgia Southern, and I dropped down to 192 before the season started. So I promise it's possible.
Yeah, definitely some life adjustments there. Yeah. I guess, I mean, on that part, like, so you go from Georgia Southern to Tennessee and then you go to pro ball. Like, how are all those adjustments a little bit different for you?
Yeah, I would say the bigger adjustment of the two was probably from Georgia Southern to Tennessee, honestly. Because at Georgia Southern, it was kind of like everything was just kind of planned out for you. Like you had to do this at this time, this at this time, this at this time. At Tennessee, it was more of a pro style, I guess you could say, where you had a window of time to get your work in. And if you didn't, like, that's on you and that's your fault and you're not going to get better and you're not going to play if you don't, because the coaches take notice. That's kind of how it is in pro ball too. Like you have this window of time. Yeah, things are like certain things are kind of scheduled out for you. But it's not, you don't have exactly like, you're going to do weighted balls at this time. You're going to do bands at this time. You're going to stretch at this time. It's like you have this window of time, stretches at this time, throwing is from this until this, like do whatever you got to do to get better that day. And so that's kind of how Tennessee prepared me for pro ball, is because, I mean, it was kind of exactly the same. So it was almost a seamless transition going into pro ball than it was going from Georgia Southern to Tennessee.
That makes sense. What was it like playing for Coach V? Like he's animated. He's fun to watch. He's almost more fun to watch than the game sometimes. Yeah. But like what kind of, I mean, he's that fire guy. Like you love to see that in college baseball. Mm-hmm. But like, what was that kind of playing for that kind of guy?
It was honestly like one of the best things that I could have ever experienced. Because that guy has your back. Like he's going to do whatever he can to number one, keep you in the game if something happens, or number two, like if somebody's like doing something wrong to you, he's going to be the one to come out there and be like, hey, like, no, this is not right. And yeah, he might be a little animated, but that's just his personality. That's who he is. And I mean, he's a great person and a great coach. And I had such fun time like playing for him and stuff like that. But yeah, I mean, it was that guy could definitely get animated, but it was you just knew he had your back.
Yeah, there's a reason behind all of it, all the way through. Exactly. And that's who he was as a person. Like, yeah, that's good to hear.
Well, and some of the other cool stuff at Tennessee, like what do they feed you guys that you have like Ben Joyce, Chase Burns, Seth Halverson, like at the same time? These dudes that are just like all gunning. I mean, Ben Joyce is in his own world, but like all you guys are like able to just sit upper 90s. Like, what are they doing at Tennessee?
Yeah, to make honestly, I don't know. Halverson came in from Missouri, and he'd already thrown 100 before, and he used to be a starter at Missouri, so that wasn't new to him. Ben Joyce, I mean, he came from a junior college, and he was throwing 100 there. He just kind of got healthy and figured out his body a little bit better. And I mean, if you look at that guy just like next to him, you're like, holy crap.
He's chiseled on marble.
Yeah, exactly. I was just about to say that. He's chiseled from something. Like, I don't know if it's marble or if it's something. But yeah, I mean, Coach Anderson is a great pitching coach, like I've said, and between all of them, like you have all the resources you need to get better. It's just a matter of taking advantage of it.
When you get doing that, Blaylock just got his first out. He got 0-2 ground ball by Carroll to first base Tolio. So we're off to a good start up there. There we go. Right. So pro ball right now. You had Spokane, you had Hartford. What are you kind of working on right now? Because we've been watching. You have these big strikeout numbers, but sometimes the pitch count is a little high. You have this big fastball, but sometimes it's not always in the zone as probably often as you want it to be. Right. What is it that you're kind of working on now as you're trying to make that next jump?
For me, it's a combination of things. I would say it's number one, being in the zone more. I've been very frustrated with myself at times where I'm like, Chase, you got to get in the zone, like get in the zone. Cause if you fall behind in AA, like it's not going to be good. You're not going to be able to get out of it like you can in high A. At the same time, it's how many times in a game can I get outs in 4 pitches or less? And my pitching coach, Dan Meyer here, he's been talking to me a lot about that. Like that's going to be huge for your success. Like you're going to have to figure that out. Whether it's striking people out in 3 pitches or 4, or it's, getting a ground ball when you need to. And I feel like, over the course of the year, it's gotten better. It has, but there's still a lot of improvement that I know I need to make. And I'm the type of guy that I don't, if I'm criticized, like I'm gonna work on it. Like I'm not the type of guy like, oh no, like I don't need to do that. Nah, that's not me. I want to find ways to get better. I want to find ways to pitch in the big leagues for a long time, and that's just been my whole plan. So
I gotta throw up. Do you remember the first batter that you faced in AA, Dalen Lyle? Do you remember that at bat? Like that was was a roller coaster to watch. I felt like you were executing like every pitch, and he was just out there trying to spoil everything. So
the first inning is always hard for me. It's you have to find your rhythm. You have to find the slope of the mound. You have to, find your arm slot and all this. So I was just like, all right, we're going to go fastball heavy and see what happens. I didn't really have a choice there just because I had thrown a curveball. And, when I throw my curveball, I try and make it too good. And it just kind of loops off into right-hander's batter's box. But yeah, once I was able to lock it in and start landing the curveball is when everything just kind of was a lot better. That's kind of my key for me. It's just if I can land the curveball, I know my mechanics are good. I know like I can get ahead of hitters. And this pass outing, like we're going to talk about, it was way better than it has been all year. And so I just need to build off of that.
What's that relationship been like with you and your 2 breaking balls? Because I know coming out of college, everyone was talking about the slider, that you can get that thing into the upper 80s, maybe touch 90 with it. Mm-hmm. And you threw the curveball, I think like 10-15% of the time in college. And it seems like when I watch you now, you're throwing it maybe like a quarter of the time. Like, have you really been working to make that curveball like the go-to third pitch? And sometimes it even looks like the second pitch.
Yeah, it definitely depends on the night. It's definitely either second or third, in my opinion. It depends on what I come out of the bullpen with, but you'd be exactly right. I am trying to throw it more because of the fact that it protects my fastball up in the zone. There's this thing called tunneling. I'm sure you guys know what this is, but the curveball kind of goes like this and the fastball rides, so it just kind of breaks off in the same plane. And so that helps me get swing and misses at the top of the zone. And, the huge speed difference, whatever 20 miles an hour it is, helps a lot too. So like I said, when I'm able to land the curveball, it starts at their head, but lands in the middle of the zone. Then I can just start a fastball off of that, and they're going to swing and have some ugly swings.
It's all right there.
But yeah, my slider has definitely gotten better as the year has gone on too. So I'm happy to finally have that pitch back.
I mean, we all love a power slider. So keep ripping that thing.
Has that been kind of the goal, like to get that thing back? Because I mean, you were kind of missing that your final year in Tennessee, right?
Yeah. It turned into a cutter, which there were some mechanical reasons as to why that happened. I was being super rotational. I was getting ahead of myself. I was pulling my glove side. And so that all causes for you to get on the side of the ball rather than kind of stay behind it and get on top. Mm-hmm. And so, I mean, I could talk about hours about this stuff. I will dive into this as long as you guys want, but yeah, I changed a couple of things in my mechanics, and I feel like I've got my command back. I've got my slider back. Now it's how consistent can I get the changeup? And I feel like my changeup has been really good at times, and sometimes I'll just leave it arm slide a little bit.
Is that consistency kind of, is that hard to find? Like we hear pitchers always saying they just need to be consistent. It's always the same mechanics all the time. And like you kind of had to revamp it and you're working on all that right now. Is that hard to do while trying to do all this other stuff?
I would say yes and no. Yes, whenever you're in a bullpen and you're trying to figure it out. For me, I go into the game with whatever I got, and I'm going to pitch with whatever I got that day. I don't think about mechanics. I don't think about anything. I'm like, all right, you got to compete with what you have that day.
Okay.
And that's just kind of that was kind of the thing that was taught at Tennessee is like, yeah, you could have the best stuff in the game or in a bullpen, but like whatever you go out with a game is what you got. Like you got to figure out how to get through those games. And I think I've done a really good job at limiting damage that I know that could be a lot worse. So it's just a matter of, like I said, just getting ahead and getting people out.
Yeah. The mentality that's again, another good thing like to hear is just, I have what I have and I'm going to work with it instead of trying to find it and trying to force some things. Cause sometimes just as a fan perspective, like armchair analyst, like you see some of these guys, these pitchers kind of like try to fight through trying to find it. Like when it's clear you don't have it. And Blaylock just struck out Jock Peterson with a nice curveball there. That was sick. Just dropped it from the bottom. I'm gonna watch. Yeah. Got him. All right. Yeah. But like, just like finding, like working with what you have, right? Like you not trying to search for it. Like that's good. So, I mean, obviously you weren't searching for too much on your outing on, was it Friday? It's Saturday. It was a Saturday doubleheader, right?
Saturday, yep.
Which is a fantastic day. Like you, and then you go the Wizard right after you, which is that's a fun day for the fans. I mean, talk us through that day. Like you had 6 punchies in your 6 innings of work.
Yep.
0 earned runs, just the 2 hits, the 1 walk. No, 1 walk. Like, how was everything working that day?
Yeah, it was working really well. That first inning when I had the walk, it was me trying to find the zone and figure out what the mound of the slope of the mound was, because I mean, if you were to go to Richmond and look at the bullpen mound compared to the game mound, two completely opposite things. I mean, the bullpen mound is like this and the game mound's like this, so like it's just trying to figure out where your body's supposed to be, but yeah, I mean, I was filling up the zone, I was getting people out, I was doing what I needed to do, and I was just competing 1 pitch at a time, like what I talk about all the time, and just kind of going from there.
I gotta say, I mean, this has been a great discussion, but I gotta say, thinking about the mounds, that's never really crossed my mind that there can never be 2 mounds that are the same. Like it's impossible. So I feel like I've never heard a pitcher even bring that up. But that has to be an issue. Like every day you're going out there, unless you're throwing off the same bullpen hill.
The way I look at it is there's a lot of external things that could control your outing, but I do not let external things control like my process. So like I have my routines and I have my thing, but my whole motto is just compete 1 pitch at a time. And, you can't be thinking about what's going on and what all that. You just have to I need to execute this pitch. And if you don't, shake it off. Like you have next pitch, because you cannot think about 2 pitches at the same time. It's just not possible.
Yeah, that's when you get in trouble, and that's
exactly
baseball. Like even when I played, it was always that 1 pitch. You got to move past it earlier, quick. Otherwise, it's gonna bite you in the butt later.
Exactly. Just say good.
Yeah, right. Good, Brody Brecht. Let's go on to the next one. Right.
Yeah,
love that. Oh, that's awesome. Tyler, do you have any other questions? Like we're at the 25-minute mark, and
oh yeah, I guess there was one more fun one right before. I think it was July 8th or 9th, whenever your last game was in Spokane. They had the gun there saying you hit 101. Like, I don't know if you saw that. Did you hit 101 or was that thing hot?
I hit 100.4.
Okay. I mean, that's
100.4. It was a little hot, but I was chucking at that game. I was sitting 98 to 100 that game, and that's always a goal for me. So it was good to see it and know that I have it in there if I need it.
Yeah, that was super cool to see. It's like, we know you're usually 94, 96, and then all of a sudden we're seeing the 101 pop up on Twitter, and I'm like, what was in his breakfast this morning? I don't know what's going on.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it was fun. It was definitely fun striking out 9 people in 3 innings. That's always fun.
It's a good way to go out. Leave the Spokane
Yeah.
faithful
Yeah, that was
with a good taste.
Did you text Seth Halverson afterwards and like, hey, I can do triple digits too?
No, he knows I can, and so he doesn't watch out. I'm coming for him, but I'm just kidding.
little speed
No.
off there.
Yeah, one of Seth's last outing here, I was charting him and charting his velo, and I just saw 100, 100, 102, 101,
Constantly.
102, 100, 100. I was like, all right, dude, we get it.
You can do it.
Yeah, we get it. Sorry.
Like, just insane. Like when he gets up there, like, and his motion is so like erratic and so like crazy. Like seeing 102 come at you in that way would just be.
Yeah.
I don't think I could stand in the box. I always wonder like would it be like standing in the box like against like somebody like you like now just like what would that be like? Like I don't know if I would want to do that with Seth.
We can make that happen if you want.
That we can do some kind of off-season stuff. Like, we'll have like a little BSB meetup somewhere and try to figure it out.
Stand a little like on the very edge of the batter's box.
Just like, way back here. I'll be in the catcher's gear trying to figure it out. Maybe a little wiffle ball action, something there.
There you go.
Got a question here, Eduardo. How has it been with people asking for autographs? Like I see it all the time at minor league games, and most of the minor league players are pretty gracious about it. But has it been a little bit crazier than you kind of expected with that?
Not really, to be honest with you. It's people are very respectful nowadays. Obviously, you'll get the one or two that are like impeding on your time and like to have no sense of like your time whatsoever. Like, hey, I gotta go do this, and they're like, wait, and I'm like, I can't, sorry.
Yeah,
you only signed 3. I need 5.
Yeah. But at the same time, like it's been fun to just kind of see all the people show up and root for me and stuff like that. I kind of got exposed to it a little bit at Tennessee with people, asking for autographs and stuff like that. But
yeah,
I just know, especially when kids come up to me, I make sure to take the time and actually sign their autographs, because I know as a kid, when I was a kid, like I would go up to people and be like, hey, can I get your autograph? So I know exactly what they're going through. And I was devastated when people said no to me, but I try and make sure I don't say no to kids.
I love that. Yeah. My kid was always trying to get a ball at a game or trying to get some autographs. And like, you just got to go ask, just got to go do it. And most of the time it goes pretty well.
Yeah.
All right. Last question. I love asking this question, and you get to be completely 100% selfish when you answer this. But what is your favorite all-time baseball moment? Like when you, like your highlight of your career from Little League to, Player of the Week, like the highlight, completely selfish.
Oh, man. Honestly, I'd have to say my entire sophomore season.
Yeah.
I mean,
that makes sense.
Not losing more than 10 games with that team was probably some of the most fun baseball I've ever played. And then, I could pick so many different things. Like getting drafted, obviously, like is a huge one. Futures game is a huge one. Like AA call up, like there's so many I could pick, but yeah, playing in college with some of my like best friends that I'll keep in touch forever, and doing what we did that year was a lot of fun for me.
And that's a good answer. And that's why I love asking that question, because like there's all of you guys have so many moments and greatness at some point that it's just like, yeah, I can talk about that. Like some guys will talk about like Little League perfect games, and it's just like walk off in the Legion ball, or it's just it's fun. I love hearing that kind of stuff.
It is fun.
But Jace, I appreciate you hanging out with us. I'm glad you responded. We made this happen. It was a good time, and thanks for letting us be part of your 2024.
Of course, I appreciate it, guys.
Thanks, man. Keep shoving.
Yeah, keep shredding it out there.
Will do.
See ya. All right, Chase. Like that was pretty dope. That was cool.
Got a good one there.
Yeah, that was good. I don't like 30 minutes. I don't know. Like we still have to do our normal pod and all that kind of stuff. But, like,
I mean, we got what we came here for, so we'll throw some stuff in. But.
Yeah, we'll cover it. Yeah, yeah. Right. You should have said playing for Bobby Meacham. You should have been better. Like, come on, man. Yeah, average BSB interview. I don't know about that. That was.
I don't know. That one didn't really stand out much.
Yeah, that's on our 2024. That's kind of down here. I don't know. But that's cool. Like I never thought about the mound thing and like what he's working on, trying to find his slider again and all that kind of stuff. It's it's cool hearing players like kind of go through it and do all of that. Mike, fix this, please.
But no, that was, I mean, for me as a baseball fan, that right there was one of the cooler moments. Just you could tell, like, he would run on with stuff, but it's like, all right, big dog, it's 10 o'clock. Stay on your stuff. Keep your consistency. That was one of my favorite moments, that especially through BSB and everything.
Yeah,
that was
awesome.
Cool.
That was cool. All right, let's talk a little minor league action. All right, before we do that, I just wanted to give a brief shout out to our new partner, Sports Spider. Guys, if you're tired of searching multiple websites for sports news, sportspider.com has you covered. They collect the latest articles, videos, and podcasts from around the web and organize them by your favorite teams. You want to stay up to date as possible with your Colorado Rockies or your Detroit Lions because the Broncos suck? Hit the link in the description to check out sportspider.com, spider with a Y. I mean, Bo Nix is overrated, right?
Nah, that's the next Drew Brees right there. Am I right, Noah, or am I right?
Like, I mean, just absolutely ridiculous. Absolutely not. But let's go to Albuquerque. So Albuquerque was a wild time this past week. I think they won last night, Mike. They got the dub last night, right?
It was a close game. I don't know if they won. I didn't stay up for it, but I think they did.
It just kept like going.
Yeah.
I know if they won, they would have won the series. But Elias Montero won Player of the Week again, but it was a very just pedestrian Player of the Week. It wasn't outlandish. I think he had 4 RBIs. I just don't know.
OPS.
Yeah, I'm trying to find it here, but just like, I don't know, all Monty does is rake in the PCL. I don't know what to do about him.
No, you guys haven't been to Albuquerque before. It's just something different about that. The land of enchantment is New Mexico, so I think he gets enchanted there in Albuquerque. I think that's going to be forever one of kind of the more difficult Rockies storylines to come to terms with. Like, we've seen this dude just absolutely slay the highest level in the minors, comes up to the big leagues and just looks like a different guy. It's tough.
Yeah, because there's like being good in the minor leagues, and then there's Montero. Montero's on a level that you would just assume it would translate, even if it's like a 700 to 800 OPS. He's like averaging a 1200 OPS every week. It's insane.
Yeah, last 28 days, 1.313 OPS. Last week was 1.2 with an 808 slugging. So like what is he working on? Like I don't know. I need to watch closer. Like, and I don't know if that's even possible, but like, what is there really to work on now to get better? Obviously, it's the breaking balls and all that, and the pitching.
He's still struggling with. Like, he's eating fastballs. It's still the same thing.
So that's just something to keep an eye on. Like, the Player of the Week is awesome, and I love that for Monty because he's still smiling, he's still happy-go-lucky, he's still doing all the hilarious things. But it's just like, all right, something is missing. What's that click? Where can we switch that there? And I know we talked about that a few times this week on this pod. It's just so interesting to me how somebody can be so good, and like, what do you actually work on when you're at AAA? It's just it's interesting. But keeping up with the Joneses, is Greg Jones and Nolan Jones like the future of the Colorado Rockies? Like what Greg Jones did with 3 homers this week, the OPS over 1.1. Nolan Jones is doing his rehab. He started the week off on the bench coming up from Fresno. He went off, but like, the question was on Twitter, it was about Stovall, who's just a gold glove at second base, shortstop, triple, or at third base, wherever you want. Hunter Stovall can pick it for you. And so like there might be a little bit of a competition for this utility player next year or even at the end of this year. And I'm kind of wondering, like, between Stovall, Shunk, Greg Jones, and Julio Carreras, like, it kind of has to be Greg Jones's going forward, right, Tyler? Like, it's almost his to lose.
Yeah, I mean, he already has a big league home run even. We all know Julio Carreras was on the 40-man. Like, he got that first kind of like the benchmark there. But Greg Jones, like, he's on the 40-man still. I think he's that next guy up if we saw some kind of injury, like I was thinking the same thing. Knock on wood, but like a Brenton Doyle, a Tovar, a Brendan Rodgers, like Greg Jones is that guy right away. I think there's even a hope that he can become a little bit more than the backup utility guy. Like, he has the upside too. So they're gonna give him every opportunity late this year, and I think, and definitely early next year to win that role long term.
Yeah, with Greg Jones, he's been on fire these past couple weeks. He's been clutch too, hitting home runs when it really matters. 1,100 OPS this week, but in 27 at bats, he's had 11 strikeouts. So it's the same thing. So it feels like it's every Rockies prospect that hits the ball well, they strike out a lot. That's a ton, and it's been like that all season. So that's something he's going to have to improve on if he wants to make that jump.
These strikeouts, trying to get strikeouts from the pitchers and try to not strike out from the hitters. It's like a fun little battle that we're all trying to figure out as fans. Like, oh, this guy's great. But then you look at his percentage, like, oh, what's happening here? It sucks. It's just so hard to kind of go with it. But keep an eye on Greg Jones. Jordan Beck, I mean, he absolutely dominated. He's back up with the big league squad. Not starting tonight, which I thought was kind of interesting. But is Hilliard starting? I didn't even look at the line.
Hilliard's starting.
Which
and
he deserves
Cave
it.
is too.
He deserves it.
Both Cave. Like Hilliard has really earned it lately. Cave, it's sort of like we love that dude, but I think when someone like Jordan Beck's available, you gotta
play him, right? Maybe it was a travel day. Maybe Beck had to leave this morning rather than last night, even though Albuquerque's not too far from Phoenix. So that doesn't make any sense. I don't know. I got nothing.
Well, I will say Beck, the strikeout numbers before this week were pretty bad in Albuquerque, and this week was a lot better. He was like 20, I think it was 17% or something this week. So I think they saw that and immediately kind of he's seen it well. So there you go.
There could be something there, and I mean he was playing great defense too.
Yeah.
And then there's the pitching, right? In Albuquerque, you have Jeff Criswell, you have Dugan Darnell, Seth Halverson, Jaden Hill are like in reinforcements in the barn. Palmquist is there, shoved for 4 innings, and then the 5th inning kind of caught up to him.
4 shutout with I think 1 hit between all those innings, and the 5th inning got him.
And we kind of see that with the AAA, like that second, third time around the batting order at altitude at the PCL, like it's a whole different beast, right? You see that quite often. Ryan Rollison is a relief arm now, like he's only pitching inning at a time, which is absolutely insane. Jake Cave, as we talked nonsense about him, just hit a double. So there's that. But there is pitching reinforcements, which is very interesting because I mean we see Bradley Blaylock, which made sense that Blaylock got the call. He was on the 40-man. He was only starting available on the 40-man. So he's good. He was brought in for this. He has the major league experience, so that kind of makes sense. But this arm bar needs so much help. We saw Justin Lawrence struggle again coming out last night. Josh Rogers got sent back down to AAA. There has to be I guess how do you kind of see these three? Dugan, Halverson, and Hill. Who do you kind of see in order of getting a call up this year?
I'm gonna let Tyler answer that one. He's the pitcher.
There's merit, and then there's talent, and then there's all the what the Rockies kind of have plans with these guys, which is a whole nother thing. But how would you kind of rank those three?
It's kind of I don't know. It's kind of impossible. I always try to really do the logical breakdown. But as you're kind of breaking down, all those guys have their own claim to it. For Hill right now, I would say his biggest claim is he's going to be on the 40-man at the end of the season. And so it's do you just start that now? With someone like Halverson, you're in no rush, but he's doing very well in AAA so far. And then you have Dugan, who has the most experience in the upper minors and the most success. And so it's kind of he deserves a shot too. I don't know. I would put my money on Hill just because of that 40-man thing. He has a ton of hype and some loyalty in the front office. But all three of those guys, we need to see them in the big leagues.
I wonder what is the Rockies arm barn situation right now?
Well, I feel like Victor Vodnik pitches every night. Every single time I turn on the TV, he's pitching.
Anytime they're plus side, which is every not too often they're plus side, but
it's been a busy week for him, right? He has 8 saves on the year, and I think 3 of them came this week. So, which makes me super nervous because Buddy likes to use his arms a lot, and here we are throwing him into high leverage situations. I mean, when you're piping 100 and you're young and I don't know. The track record with that freaks me out a little bit. So I don't know. So you have in the barn, you have Chavi, Kinley, Lambert, Molina, Noah Davis, Riley Pint, and Victor Vodnik. 3 long relievers. And then you have some of these short-term guys. So it's is Kinley really in the future? But do they really DFA him at the end of this? To make room for a Jaden Hill? Do they do that with any of these guys? Maybe a Peter Lambert, but he's a long reliever. So how do you switch out Lambert for Hill? But you really need 3 long relievers. So weird, very weird. I don't think I've seen really anything like this with the roster dynamic right now. I haven't seen something like this in a long time.
Well, here I'll propose this. How many of those guys are you taking over Dugan, Halverson, or Jay?
0. I mean, 0. Like, you say Dugan, he's obviously automatically going to the top. But like realistically, you mean like right now this season or preparing?
Yeah, like
for
right now, if you want to win a game, assuming that's what the Rockies want to do, like what?
I mean, I think you got to go with Kenley and you got to go with the experience right now, right? If you're trying to
like, even including like Pint and stuff, like how many of those guys currently in the bullpen are you taking over those 3? I think it's not many. I'd rather
it's just like Victor, and after
Maybe
that you're making an argument the rest of the way.
That's fair. That's fair. It would be great like if the Rockies just kind of said, you know what, let's just bring up these 3 and just kind of go with it. And Ryan Rollinson, you remember that guy? Let's call him up too, and let's get rid of some of these other guys. Like never calling for another man's job, but like we got to switch something, right? Like this.
They have options. Pint and Chavi both have options. So
right. Down. Yeah, I don't know if I think Chavi's up there the rest of the way. I don't think they're calling him back down. Probably. Just you're not wasting an option on him this year. So that again, it's a lost season, right? Like we might get 60.5 games. We might get there, but there are so many storylines to watch. Like I know I said it before. I do not want Dugan Darnell called up because the way they just are cutting bait with these guys, DFA him and he's gone. And there is a team that would pick up Dugan Darnell. Like I can see like that fastball would play anywhere. So cross my fingers he doesn't get called up until September, so he doesn't get cut. I don't know. But
at this point, I think he's like a Rule 5 target. Like he's kind of the least likely of some of the guys that are going to be Rule 5 eligible to be added. But like he's AAA ready. Like I mean, he has proven at AAA that he's ready to go. So I could see him being a Rule 5 pick if he's not added. Honestly, I don't think he will be added because of the traffic that they have. And
I was going to say I need to make a spreadsheet of all the players that are like Rule 5 eligible this next offseason or this next season, just to see what the log jam is.
It's a pretty good amount right now.
It's a big log
because you just added 3 at the trade. Oh, Blaylock is already on there. You added 2 others at the trade deadline. So
like Jaden Hill and like Halver. I don't know if Halverson is with Jaden Hill.
No, he's not. But you have Romo, you have Veen, you have a few other guys in that 20. No, he's got another
year after me. Right.
So the end of the season, that winter meetings is going to be interesting too. So just a lot of storylines to watch out. I think I heard there's 6 more weeks left of the minor league season. So like we're coming on the tail end of it. So a lot of wiggle room, seeing where everything kind of fits in here. Let's go down to Hartford, the Yard Goats. New guys are fitting well. You said it there, Tyler. I kind of like what we're seeing. Blaylock and Peralta. I mean, Peralta, I saw some of his highlights. He likes to post his things on his Instagram story, which is great. His fastball, like it's got a little life to it. It's fun to see it work.
Yeah, I mean, he's got his season ERA down to 0.81. He's had 5 scoreless innings with Hartford since coming over. So 0.81 ERA, 70 Ks in 44.2 innings. And the more I've been reading and watching him, his slider is going to be a problem too. And I mean, the fastball has a chance to be really good for a left-handed fastball. So he looks like an absolute dog. And I mean, right, we're seeing Bradley Blaylock at the big league level right now, making a start against one of the hottest lineups in baseball. So far, so good. We are the masters of the jinx out here, so we won't talk about that too much. But I mean, he struck out 8 and 6.2 in his last start. He gave up some runs in the 7th, but for the most part, he shoved.
Yeah, and I think that's where the Rockies won the trade deadline. Like they found these good arms, they found the good spots for these guys, and so far so good with the arms that they added. So the new guys are doing well. I mean, Dollander and Sullivan. Like, is there anything else we say? Like, like I said, Saturday was awesome for any fan that was there. Like, imagine spending all day in Richmond watching just back-to-back games and seeing Dollander and Carson do their thing. Like, sign me up all day. Not Carson, Sean. Like, it's just like it's nuts, like what those two are doing after the jump from high A to double A. Like, I mean, Mike, you say it all the time. That's one of the hardest jumps in the minor leagues, and yet here they are, just absolutely dominating.
I mean, I feel like this jump, it could have gone really bad. And for me, it's like this jump, it could have kind of killed my vibe because this jump is really hard. And if they struggle, that's just like that's going to happen. But they aren't. So it's awesome. I'm even more hyped about this pitching.
It gives me
the arms that we have. It's awesome.
It gives me so much more hope, right? Like
Yeah.
you jumped up and you didn't struggle. Like,
Yeah.
let's go.
Kind of
like that never happens.
Yeah, we expected to struggle, and the fact that didn't happen is just awesome.
I will throw out one storyline to just keep watching is the Sullivan strikeout totals. Not many so far in his first two starts, which he's one of the, when he was in Spokane, there'd be a game where he'd throw 5-6 innings and only have like 2 Ks because I'm sure he didn't have feel for the strikeout stuff and is getting a lot of weak contact. Like ultimately he might settle in as that guy who strikes out, a lot less than one batter per inning.
Yeah.
So
and also his ERA is a little
stays there.
His ERA is a little skewed because that first game he had a really the little bases loaded triple play thing happened.
Yeah, there's that.
Something to watch for. I like that. And then, I mean, speaking of storyline, Zach Agnos gave up a run. I know we haven't said that a lot. Gave up a run 2 runs this week, but his ERA is still at 1.15. Family of the pod doing his thing up there. Mike, are you taking your hand away from the Amador big red button?
Well, there's 2 big red buttons that I'm taking my hands off of. And that's going to be Sterling Thompson in.
Let's go. My dude.
They're free.
Let's go.
My boys.
Let them eat.
Yeah, I think I jinxed it in a good way. So you're welcome, guys. That's we worked together for that one. Amador's doing great. I mean, he's hitting with power. He's not walking, but if you're hitting like at a 900 OPS in double A, I don't care if you're walking or not. That's productive. And Sterling Thompson, 400 average, over 900 OPS this week. Another home run, 9 RBIs. You can't complain about that. That's probably his best week in a long time. And this past month has been basically that. So it's awesome.
But in just a narrative that has to get out there is like understanding the Eastern League. Like this year, the average OPS is somewhere in like the 680s range. So we see, I mean, I've seen plenty of people saying like Amador's line is terrible. He shouldn't be viewed as a top prospect anymore. And it's like, it hasn't been great, but when we put it into context the whole season, where he's been really good now the last almost 2 months, excluding the injury moment and the little call up. I mean, and now his season numbers are above average. So we went from being like, oh, this guy, that's a horrible OPS at like 650. I mean, now he's above average. So.
I mean, Thompson too is higher OPS than Amador, and I mean he was slumping in like July and June.
It was ugly,
pretty bad.
Yeah.
So in above league average, which if you put that perspective is always needed, and that's something I'm glad that you brought up, Tyler. Like 700 OPS minor league doesn't seem great, but it's above league average. Eastern League, one of the hardest leagues.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, when you pointed that out a week or two ago, I was like, really? Like that's where it's at right now? And here we are. It's just like, all right, Amador isn't as bad as we kind of perceived it to be. And I love the fact that he's more aggressive. I saw some of his at-bats last week. Like he was swinging in the first 3 or 4 pitches, like in trying to hit hard contact early, which is like it's not his game, but he's able to do that and trying to work counts if he has to try to find his pitch. Is definitely something he's probably working on because he's gonna have to do that at the major league level. Like you're gonna have to be able to work it to where you want it to get to, and so that bat to ball skills he has, working with a little bit of aggressiveness, might be a nice little combo there.
Yeah, it's something. It's always fun to see when you see guys struggle, and then you can see them change, like visibly change the way they're doing things. Like that's awesome. And now that he's succeeding, it just kind of tells me that he knows what he's not doing right, and he's able to fix it. He's not going to be stuck in his own ways. It's awesome.
Yep. You got to keep being able to learn, like what Chase was saying. Like I'm not going to be stuck. It's not about me right now. I got to go and be better, and I will listen to whatever critique you have, and I'll work with that. So it seems like Amador and Sterling are kind of doing that, and they're making those adjustments and doing their thing. Let's head to Spokane, but first, Daily Controls LLC. This is brought to you by them. Are you ready to transform your industrial processes into seamless symphonies of efficiency and precision? Look no further than Daily Controls LLC. No two businesses are alike, and neither are those control system needs. If your push buttons aren't blinking or your robots aren't cooperating, trust Daily Controls to get your equipment running smoothly 24/7. For more information, go to dailycontrolsllc.com or email info@dailycontrolsllc.com. Daily spelled DALY. Spokane Indians. They got some reinforcements. I don't know if you've heard of them. Cole Messina, one of the top catchers in this most recent draft class.
Who's the other guy?
Charlie Condon struck out 3 times in his debut as absolutely atrocious. We all wrote him off.
Yeah.
And then what did he do? Rest of the week just went ham. Mike, tell us about Charlie's week in Spokane.
Yeah, I mean, if you guys, we didn't really get to see much of it because like the camera angle they were giving us, but
so rough.
it's brutal. It's the Chase
So
Dollander's first start for us was that same camera angle. Tri-City fix it. Anyways, Condon first start was pretty bad. We had people, already, being happy that they were right. Their draft takes were right. Like, oh, he sucks. Like in our mentions, I don't know what we're doing after one game. And then after that, it's doubles. I think he hit a triple. And of course that home run was awesome.
Yeah.
Second game, I was really worried we were going to go like a week or two without a home run and it would just be like any day now, but he got that out of the way pretty quickly. He did play third. He played third, I think corner and DH. So he kind of a little bit everywhere. He did have an error at third base. So I don't know if we should read into that too much. It's one play, but it's Charlie Condon. He was great. There was a lot of at bats where he got ahead early and almost like took off the at bat, kind of like a lot of like 3-0s and stuff. Then they would work back on him. So we'll see. It's Charlie Condon. He'll be in Hartford next year, and he's gonna hit. That's all it is.
We need him in Hartford now so we can like actually watch what he's doing and
know.
not have like a horrible lens flare, seeing like from behind the plate, all that kind of stuff.
The net in
Need
the
him in
way.
Hartford for that. Yeah.
Hey,
The camera guy's zooming in like he hit a home run on his first at bat. Like,
And then it's like a routine flyout.
it's wild. Trying to watch these games is a trip in itself. Like there's some games like, I can't do this. Like I think it was like they're hitting and then they foul it off and then it stays on them and then they go away and then their pitch is coming in and then they go in and then you're hitting the last part of the swing. It's just it's a wild ride. But
I'm really glad Hartford does it amazing.
Hartford's
They
fantastic.
zoom in on the pitcher, so if I need a screenshot of the pitcher for a graphic,
Dude.
they do that. Like, it's stuff like that. The little things that most people probably don't think about.
Yeah.
Catering to Mike.
Fresno does that too. So there you go.
Yeah, the Isotopes have a good little thing too. Like you said, Fresno. Like there are some a little bit better. This is the first year. Most of the Northwest is like the first year of having video. So
Well, Jack,
we can complain. Not
Jack
too much.
Caglione, his wasn't even broadcasted his first
Right.
week. So
Right. It could be worse, Mike.
Could be worse.
It could be worse. Are we worried about his 9 strikeouts and 21 at bats though? Like that's just growing pains, professional at bats, right? Like.
I think to Mike's point, like at least in the 2 games that I got to watch every at bat, some of the strikeouts were counts that he was ahead in previously. And when you have enough of those at bats over the long term, like you're not going to strike out at the same rate in those at bats as he has so far.
Right.
I'm watching that because I think he only has 1 walk versus the 9 Ks. You want to see that much closer to each other, but it's been a week. I think we were seeing clearly him getting comfortable. There's adjustments to be made. Dude was playing college ball 2 months ago. Hasn't played really organized baseball in 2 months.
Right.
And just comes into a pretty difficult environment to hit. So patience is required, but nothing to be, hand away from the button.
Yeah, it's way too early to say anything else ridiculous. Kyle Karras continues to rate. Cole Carrick came back from a bad week before. Our boy Connor Stain delivered 5 innings pitched, 9 Ks. Like you said, I think last time, Tyler, 2 weeks ago, when he's on, he's almost absolutely unhittable. Only allowed 1 hit. When he's off, it's ugly and it's hard to watch. But we had a good Stain this week. Herrera threw 6 one hit innings. Bryson Hammer made his debut. Prosecki got roughed around, only made it 2 outs in his his week in
That was a
Spokane.
really weird game. His stat line was really weird. 7 runs allowed, like 3 earned, like 3 hits. It was very weird.
Yeah, like so he wasn't in the zone very much either. I think he would tell you that himself. He wasn't his best there. But our guy Sam Weatherly got a save this week for Spokane last night, which is awesome to see. He's another kind of quiet big arm that could turn into something from that 2020 draft. So a lot of good things happening up in Hartford, especially or Spokane with that pitching development up there. And then let's head down to Fresno. Last but not least, our guys in Fresno. I mean, would it be weird if we did start with Robert Kalaz? Hit his first homer.
We gotta say our rest in peace Rice's laptop.
Oh yeah, poor guy. I think the window, like they slide up and down. I think it crashed down on his laptop pregame and it just gone. He wasn't able to get it going. Had to borrow somebody else's. Right. Colorado Rockies, like give Fresno. Let's get our boy Rice a new laptop up there. Prince of Doyle stole a base.
Yeah, he's safe. 30-30.
Are they reviewing it right now?
Yeah, I think they called him safe. I don't think there's enough to overturn. Yeah, first man to get 20 home runs for the Rockies. I'm just saying. I am right.
Good.
Suck it, James.
You were right. It's looking like a really conservative thing to say now. Like 2020, like now looking at it, I was like, oh, obviously.
I know 25-25's in play. I don't think we're getting 30-30, but 25-25 I think is in play. Robert Kalaz, like, is the 18-year-old it? Like, pretty nice little start to his low A debut. Had his first homer. I mean, what's impressing you so far, Tyler? Like, Robert Kalaz.
I mean, just seeing him work legitimate at bats and just finding ways to get solid contact a lot. I think that was the worry, is that this young kid's going to come in without experience, and whether he's going to show his best tool, the power, enough or not. And I mean, we've already seen the homer. I think he has a triple, a few doubles. Like, he's making good contact, and he's drawn some walks. He's not striking out that much. Still really early on in his full season career, so anything can happen. But that early start is really encouraging, and just got to give him my piece. Like, you got like Ethan Salas in the Padres organization, who's a top 5 prospect.
Yeah.
Not a peep really about Robert Kalaz, who is now 18 in full season ball, putting up numbers. You're not going to see him on a midseason top 100 list, and I think that's kind of criminal.
Dang,
yeah, no, I'm going
to
just go right off what Tyler said. Like, people love these super young guys in the full season baseball. If it's like a Padres player, they love it. But for us, for some reason, it's no love. This guy, I questioned if he was gonna I was really rude when I was like, he's probably not gonna be good at the end of the year. It's gonna be a lot of growing pains, is what I said. He looks like the same player he was in the ACL. Still striking out like 30% of the time, which it's less than what I thought, because the strikeout thing I thought was a huge issue. He hits the ball, he mashes. He's walking more than I ever really thought he would. It's 1 week, so the strikeout things it's the difference between Condon striking out and Callis. Is kind of that's in the scouting report with Condon, not so much, especially compared to Callis. So something to look out for is strikeouts. But if you're gonna hit this good, like, strikeouts can go to the side if you're gonna hit with this much power.
Right, and all that other stuff will come down.
He's 18. Like, this guy is 18. Like, oh, that's crazy.
I know. I dare the rest of you that are saying Ethan Salas, what? Go look at his 2024 stats in high A.
He's the worst hitter in MIL. If they were to put him down a level, they're ruining him.
I mean, and they had him in Double A last year. Like,
yeah,
I don't know. People are doing.
If we put Callis in Hartford, he could play bad, but I guess in their
it'd probably be better though than these freaking Ethan Salas numbers we're getting. So
it's. I didn't know they were that bad until I looked him up right now. But that also might be is it AJ Preller, the Padres GM, trying to hey, I got this guy that I can trade you. He's really hyped. He's already hit Double A at 17. So
it's interesting. They have a shortstop that's I think 17 in
that's another young one.
He's actually. I mean, Salas is good, but like DeVries is like really good. Like, that's the guy who actually deserves the love. Get Robert.
There you go, B-Rod.
The love. Come on.
Yeah. And then Jared Thomas might be my new favorite Rockies prospect.
Whoa.
Just not like in terms of like
Ryan Ritter has some words. Ryan Ritter is so mad right now.
Get on the field. No, I'm playing. Can't help it.
He's rehabbing down in Arizona. He's making his way back soon.
There you go. Yeah, with Thomas, it just feels like super professional at bats. He's walking a lot. 1 week, I know. I don't think he'll be in Fresno for long. I think he's a lot better than this league. And the athleticism's pretty obvious. Not striking out. He's a fun at bat because he's not going to go out there and strike out in 3 pitches. He's gonna fight if he gets down. He's gonna take his walks. He's probably gonna be an average over power guy, like we all kind of thought. Mm-hmm. I don't know the player comp exactly. I don't want to throw someone out there that isn't legit, but I think he'll be a very good pro.
Yeah, he has that skill set. He's very similar. He reminds me a lot of Sterling Thompson, so it's kind of that's in there. I could see him moving up to Spokane and help him with that playoff push because Fresno's out of it. They're sitting third, about 6 games under 500 in the second half. So unless something changes,
Spokane already has
they clinched the first half, right? So like being on the roster for that playoff to go with the playoffs, I could see
have them all on one. All the prospects on one team is always best.
Yeah, and that's kind of feels like what they're doing. Yeah, go win something. And the Rockies they want to win at the minor league level. So I could see something happening with that, like Robert Calaz and Alberto Pacheco, who had 14 Ks this week across 11 innings. 22-year-old just doing work there. Hunter Mann, not a name we've ever said on this, but he was, I think he was a 2023 draftee, right? Late 2023.
14.
18 strikeouts and 16 innings for the Fresno, delivered 3 no-hit innings this week. So he's somebody to watch. And then there's the other debuts from this draft. Connor Eaton, 2 innings pitched, 1 in run, 1 K, 0 walks. Fidel Ulloa, 1.2 innings, 2 earned runs, 1 walk, 1 K. And then Justin Lohr, just a rough 2 games. Gave up 2 walks in his first and then 4 runs in the second. So off to a great start for Justin there, but you're going to have that, right?
Justin and Fidel were roommates in college, by the way. Just a little fun fact. Now they're in Fresno together.
Came from the same college?
LSU.
Oh,
yeah, both are LSU cats.
There we go. Did not know that. Look at you. Fun fact with Mike. Good way to end it there. We're going to end it with our card sponsor, Grant Hankins. Go follow our man on the X, G Hankins 25, HANKINS. Card loving Tovar collecting sponsor Grant Hankins. He has donated most of the cards for our giveaways and is a big part of our BSB community. He sells and buys cards and loves just discussing all things baseball card related, even the Rockies. So go ahead and follow our man Grant G Hankins 25 on the X. Anything else for the good of the cause, fellas? We just had one of our coolest interviews ever.
That was awesome. That was just
that's a grade A, 80 grade personality and all that. Yep. Seems very real, humble, and then also he's nasty. Maybe the best pitching prospect since who knows.
I mean, he called us out. He called us out. Maybe some offseason banter stuff, like me standing in a box against Chase Dollander.
I could definitely get a hit.
There's no way I'm hitting it. I would just like to stand in the box and see what 98 looks like.
I do want to see that.
We need someone to on the BSB team to be like, I can get a hit off you, and then set one of these things up where we just have them just throw darts.
Noah, let's get Noah out there.
Noah, James has a big enough ego. He could probably challenge somebody. I just don't want to. I don't want to do that, and then one of these guys throw their arm out in the offseason, and that's more of a reason. Maybe we do something not baseball related.
I want to face Bud Black.
I really don't want to face Chase Dollander, to be honest.
No, I'm not getting the bat off my shoulder. None of us are.
That's just an experience. That's just something to remind you that we are. I mean, yeah,
we are mortals.
We're us.
We are.
That would be really humbling. Yeah.
Right. It would be fun, but that was a sweet interview. Fun weeks happening with the minor leagues. It's just a good time. It's going to start getting busy for all of us, though. So I don't know what our covers is going to look like. So bear with us as we try to figure out these next 2 or 3 weeks as we all kind of.
It was pretty bad this weekend because I was out. I was out. Available. You weren't available, so it was very low coverage. But this week we'll bounce back. And then
we're finding our groove. We're trying to figure it out. So we got to keep those impressions up for Elon on the X there. So we'll do our best. Keep following us.
I figured out why we're not getting the thing, by the way.
I figured. So keep following along with us and get ready for the button. Go Rocks and the minor league affiliates. Woo!
Thank you for watching and listening. Please check out our link tree for more content.